Hey, I'm Scott Hoffman with Dirt Bike Test, and I'm here with Andre LaPlante from MotoVentures in Southern California. They are a trials and off-road riding school, and today we're here talking trials bikes. So Andre, you're the expert, and we're gonna say, why trials?
Trials, not only is it fun, but it teaches you really great skills, makes you become a really good rider. Also, it's really great for impressing your friends.
All right, now when you see riders like Graham Jarvis, Colton Haker, Cody Webb, why are they so darn good on dirt bikes?
It's simple. They grew up riding trials. Even at a young age, they probably started out on a trials bike and learned their skills at a young age.
Now, what would you say the most important aspects of trials are, and why should the average person at least try it or even buy a bike?
It's all about slow speed stuff. Not only is it safer to learn at a slow speed, but you learn more technical skills, and those skills transfer to higher speeds and once you become faster.
Now, for guys that like to sit down, it's not really the best motorcycle, is it?
Absolutely not. There's no sitting down in trials. Stand up only.
So would you say that clutch control, throttle control, balance at slow speeds are items that some people take for granted at higher speeds when it comes to off-road or motocross?
The name of the game in trials is to ride, get through a section without putting your foot down. So yeah, the focus is on clutch control, throttle control, balance, counterbalance, traction, everything you can to get through that obstacle course without having to put your foot down.
Now, how much training on a trials bike does it take to accomplish what some of those top guys do, and what can the average person expect to benefit from a motorcycle like this?
Well, the top guys, they spend a lot of hours on the bike training, many days a week. It's a full-time job for those guys. But your average rider, can spend, a couple weekends a month just practicing these techniques, and the rest of the time you could focus on your big bikes.
Say an amateur level off-road or motocross guy, how long does it take them to learn how to do some of these basic techniques? Is it the one-day thing, or does it take a couple weeks, or how long does it take you to teach a guy to do some decent techniques?
Well, it definitely takes some time. I mean, you could learn some skills in one day, but that's more of just a teaser because it just makes you want to learn more and focus more on the fundamentals. Spending a good season or two riding a trials bike and maybe even competing in some of the local events, that will definitely help cement those skills, and so that way you don't forget.
Now, after a day or two on a trials bike, can you automatically apply those techniques to a big bike to become a better rider?
The same concepts apply, counterbalancing, clutch control, throttle control, all that same stuff applies to your big bikes, especially when there's no traction. You can't just be pinning it around the corner when there's no traction.
Now here we have a Gas Gas 300 behind you, which is technically a pro level motorcycle. So it's like, this is what high-level trials guy would ride almost right out of the box. It's almost like a factory motocross or supercross bike.
This bike is a pro-level bike. The bike has no limitations. So basically, it can do anything you can do.
Now, this is a bike not the average guy would really want to start off on, is it? Or unless you're really a skilled off-road rider.
Yeah, most people cannot ride this bike to its level. This is, like I said, it's a pro-level trials bike. One of the best bikes to start off with would be like either a 125 or a 250. They're a lot more mellow, less intimidating, gives you a good chance to focus on those skills, and then you can take that to a bigger bike if you'd like.
Now, where can you ride trials?
Well, I'll tell you, the nice thing about trials bikes, a couple things, they're real quiet, so you don't need a big area to ride in. A lot of people even just ride in their backyard. But these techniques that we learn riding trials is an old thing that we call tread lightly. That way you're not roosting up a hill, you're not digging a big old trench. Once you learn these techniques, you get to practice, tread lightly, and that way we get to keep our trails open.
Now, give us some of the basic verbiage of some of the techniques, names, and whatnot.
Lots of techniques. You can Google it if you want. Anything from balancing and counterbalancing, staying centered on the bike. There's a roll-up, there's a zap, there's a splatter. Those are climbing techniques. All that stuff. Nose wheelies, wheelie turns. All that stuff is lots of fun trials techniques.
Now, the splatter is one I've heard of. What is a splatter, and how would you do it on a trials bike?
Splatter is a pretty aggressive technique. When you've got a big obstacle you got to get up over, it does help usually if you have a little bit of a kicker at the bottom. But basically, with a splatter, you got to rev the bike up and dump the clutch and almost bunny hop and jump into the obstacle and basically over rotate, and you hit the obstacle with your rear tire, and that momentum will help carry you up to the top.
All right, what's the basic technique that average person would want to get over a rock or a large log or whatnot?
90% of the time on a trials bike, even on a dirt bike, you're going to use a technique called the roll up, where basically you just roll up to the obstacle, you touch the front end and blip the gas to get that rear tire up the obstacle. Again, it's 90% of your technique that you're going to use is going to be a roll up.
20 years ago, there wasn't extreme enduro, and you didn't see guys do trials techniques on big bikes, and now it's all over the place, and how important it is. You can't really jump that gap. You should really start off on a trials bike before you try doing some of these next level stuff on a big bike.
A lot of these guys you see on the internet, Graham Jarvis is a great example. A lot of people see the stuff that he does and they want to do that. Well, it's really difficult to do that on a big bike. Just jump right into it and do that on a big bike. It's very intimidating, and you could get hurt. So the idea is to learn these techniques on a trials bike, and then eventually, take those skills to your big bike.
You got MotoVentures that's in Southern California. There's a couple other places throughout the country that people can actually experience trials, and what are they going to get out of it?
Here in Southern California, we got MotoVentures. We do trials training. You could ride trials basically anywhere. Trials is more of a technique thing. You don't even have to ride trials on a trials motorcycle. I know a lot of guys that practice trials training on their dirt bikes. All that stuff is stuff that you could even practice on your big bike, but it does help to have a trials bike that's a little bit lighter, a little bit more nimble, stuff like that. I think everybody owes it to themselves. If you ride a dirt bike, if you want to grow your skills riding a dirt bike, ride a trials bike. Maybe not just for a day, but if you can borrow one or even buy one. The nice thing about a trials bike is if you buy a used trials bike, you could ride it for a season or two and sell it and recoup most of your money. You're probably not going to lose very much money on something like that.